Hey everybody, happy Saturday. This is Cameron and I'm back with another over the board rapid game. Different time, just got caught up with work this week, wasn't able to play any early morning games, but looking forward to playing one. My commitment today is to not lose on time. The last time I played rapid, I lost 2 games on time. I think part of that is I'm thinking too much. The other part of it is I'm probably narrating too much. I know people like to hear the thought processes. I think that's why there's value in this longer time control. But I was watching some of my VODs back and I could watch myself like decide on the move, narrate it, and then play it. So I may try narrate in reverse a little bit today, make the moves quicker, not waste so much time talking, and hopefully get like a full complete game because that's obviously a lot more valuable to you as well. So if you're here on stream, thanks. If you're watching on YouTube later, also thank you. Really appreciate the comments from everybody. They've been very positive, very kind, and it's been really, really cool to see. So I just wanted to say thank you and keep the comments coming in. If you want to support my channel, the number one thing you can do is follow me on Twitch if you're here live, like my video on YouTube, or subscribe to my channel. I hope to continue bringing content like this and have some other really exciting things to announce soon, but not quite ready for that. So just a little bit of teaser for everybody. I am going to get started with my game. Got some suggestions actually from YouTube to make the board a little bit more accessible just from a viewing standpoint. I used to play on a blue board, but obviously it doesn't matter for me because I am looking at the physical board. So change the color up a little bit and hoping that it's easier to see for the folks that need a little bit easier board to see. So the board is up. I'm going to seek this game. Oh, maybe. Where's the... refresh here real quick. And there we go. We'll look for a game. Hopefully we'll have a good one. And I will not lose on time today. I'm going to narrate quicker. All right, I'm black, so I got to flip it around. My opponent opens d4, and I'm going to play knight f6 just because that's what I'm used to. I'm looking at maybe responding to d4 with d5 in the near future, but I'm not quite there yet, so I'm going to stick with an opening that I know, which is somewhat of a Nimzo Indian. If they allow it, they right away play a3, so that limits my ability to pin the knight to the king, in which case I think I'm just going to play b6 here, get ready to fianchetto my light square bishop. So they do bring their knight up, and I think I'm going to continue with my plan here to fianchetto the light square bishop. Like I said, I'm going to try and play a little bit faster today. Just don't want to run into any time trouble. I don't think that's good for me, just from a time management standpoint, and for the viewer as well. You're not getting a good game. So looking where to place my dark square bishop here. I think I'm just going to go bishop e7, looking to castle next. Just getting some pretty standard developing moves here. And here, debating castling, debating playing something like c5 and developing my knight. But I think I would rather castle. We'll see what white does. So playing rather quickly through the opening here, still have only used about 10 seconds of my starting clock. White is playing pretty quick as well. And I'm not trying to play blitz here, but I am just trying to make sure I leave enough time to think and narrate the middle game. So now I'm trying to decide if I want to play c5 or d6 and where to put my knight. So if I play d6, I'd be looking to play knight b d7. And if I play c5, obviously looking for knight c6. So if I think about which I want to do, I am castled and they are not. So breaking up the center with a move like c5 feels appealing. They can lock it up, just push d4, sorry, d5. Let's see. I think I'm going to stick with d6, look for knight b d7 next, and see where the middle game takes us. So they're gathering more space. I imagine they're going to pin my knight with the dark square bishop with a move like bishop g5, and that is okay because I've got my dark square bishop there protecting, and I'm going to develop my knight again, not waste too much time. I am already 2 minutes down on the clock, so I've got to be aware of that. They get castled, and I'm pretty well developed, so at this stage, I'm looking at c5, I'm looking at moving a rook over. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with c5 right away. I've got that square protected twice. Wow, so they do push e5, and yeah, I think I could just take. I will have to move my bishop out of the way. I'm going to have to start watching a battery towards h7, so I should be careful about that. But I will take. I shouldn't deliberate on that. I need to take. They're going to take back. And where to put the knight? I think we're just going to play knight d8, knight e8. Yeah, knight e8. And then we will have to start protecting h7. I'm actually considering a different move and taking bishop takes f3, because that's a nice little in-between move. They would need to take back because I would be taking it with tempo on the queen. And I'm just going to calculate real quick and make sure that works. So takes, queen takes, and then knight takes e5, winning that pawn. And looking to see, do we have any issues? No, I think I'm going to go for it. I think that is correct. So let's see how that pans out. Again, 4 minutes down on the clock, so got to be very conscious of that. I imagine they'll take back with the queen, just not take on doubled pawns on the f-file. And without thinking, if that is the way they take back, I think I'm going to take this pawn on d5, e5. How's everything looking? Looks all right. So they do take. And like I said, I'm going to take this pawn. Feel pretty good about this now that... so they take... I wonder if they're looking at like a Greek gift situation. I should just be able to take back with the knight. I think... I don't... I'm just worried. I'm making sure that my knight on e5, it's not protected, but I don't know a way that white can take advantage of it. So I am just going to take back with the knight. I don't know if white is lashing out because they dropped a pawn early, but I don't see how white is going to take advantage of this. And that's kind of like famous last words. I'm sure I'm saying that, and then we may have some issues. So here he goes, hitting my undefended knight, but his pawn on c4 is undefended. I think this might be getting out of hand for white here. He doesn't have a way to add another attacker to my knight on h7. And I'm just trying to make sure if I take that pawn, do I have a safe square to retreat to? I do. I can put it on, yeah, d6. It's probably the most likely move. Very, very curious what's going on here from white's side, but I feel really good about it. Just making sure the recording looks all right. I'm up. Yeah, I just not looking good for white at all. So just making sure I can take this pawn. I think I can. I mean, even if they play something like bishop h6, they're still a move away from taking advantage of that. And I can always play something like bishop f6. So I'm going to go ahead and take this pawn. It is hanging, and see what white wants to do, because there just aren't a lot of great moves here. And yeah, they attack the knight. I'm okay with it. Like I said, I think I'm just going to play here. And could he slide a rook over? Yes, but now my knight is defended. So I can slide my queen out of the way. If he does, try and create an alignment issue by playing rook d8, or sorry, rook d1. So they're starting to bring the knight over. And I am up 4 points of material. I think right away I would like to figure out if I can trade down. Let's see if there's a way we can make that happen. Just thinking. I do have a bit of a weakness on light squares. I'm thinking something like knight f6, hitting the queen with tempo. Just don't want to make a mistake. Yeah, I think I'm going to play knight h6, hit the queen with tempo, get my knight off the side of the board. They slide it over. That's all right. And where do we go from here? My rook is defended, so there's no issues there. Let's just start. I want to start making some progress here. We're up quite a bit of material. Where are my advantages? I've got my pieces pretty well coordinated. Yeah, I wonder if I can get a knight over to like c2, attack the rook. What would be the quickest way to get there? Yeah, I don't know if anything's readily available yet. I think I should get my rooks into the game, so maybe something like rook c8. Checking the time, 9 minutes. I think I am going to slide a rook over and maybe start advancing my queenside pawns, but let's start with rook c8. Okay, so he slides the dark square bishop over. That piece is protected 3 times, so I'm not so concerned about that. Thinking about something like knight e4. Knight e4, and then I have the threat of knight d2, forking the rook and the queen. And if he takes, I think I can play. I'm going to play that right away. Again, I think this is working. I could take back with the knight. Again, like trading down is fine for me, but I also will quickly calculate if knight d2 can work first as an in-between move. We'll see. Some kind of, so yeah, they don't take, and they elect not to allow that move. And I can still play it and trade, honestly, but I don't know if that's really a good move at all. I may actually just play a move like queen c7 and bring a rook, like rook f e8, just take over the open file. Yeah, I think that's looking good. I'm gonna move my queen up again. Like I said, rook f d8. Even if they put a rook on that open file, I will challenge for it. I think will be my response. I may even play something like bishop d6, creating a battery on h2. That's looking pretty good as well. They don't really have a good way to defend it. They could play G2 and then their queen is undefended. I would like to find a way to get rid of that dark square bishop so I can play knight d2 just because that is such a good looking move, but I don't quite know how to get rid of it yet. Nope. I've got to be careful. I can't move the knight that's on f6 because then it would leave my knight on e4 hanging. So we won't be doing that. Try and get white into a bit of a think here. I've got definitely an advantage on material, but not on time, 7 minutes down, which is pretty usual for me. Just hopeful thinking that I can continue to play quick and secure this win. So they do challenge for the file, and like I said, I think I am going to challenge for it right away. Or maybe I play this battery first, because can they block it? I guess they could block it. I could trade down. I would be okay with that. Take. It does allow their knight to get into a nice little spot. So I'm going to challenge for the file first. Then bishop d6 next. And if I trade, I trade. I think I'm good with that for sure. Okay, so here, what do we want to do? I think I want to trade. Honestly, I quickly just want to trade down. I'm up a piece and a pawn, so I may just trade right away. Then yeah, I am going to do that. Not deliberate. We'll trade. Play principally. Take with the pawn. And what do we want to do here? I wonder if I can get a queen trade. I wonder if I can try and convince him to trade queens. I can jump my knight into d5 and attack the dark square bishop. Where do we want to go here? Yeah, something like knight d5 is sounding good. That square is protected twice. They'd have to put that dark square bishop somewhere. And I'm just trying to decide if they could put it somewhere that would be annoying to me. I'm trying to decide if like bishop h6 is a problem. And I honestly think I could just take it. I don't think they have enough material in for the attack. They could move it back to d2, c1. And if that was the case, I think I'm okay, honestly. Five minutes. Yeah, again, let's not deliberate too long. I think I'm going to see if I can get him to trade queens first. And if he takes on d8, I have to take with my bishop. Otherwise, my queen is undefended. So we got to remember that. My rook on d8 is defended twice right now. So even if he takes with my queen and I take back with the rook, it's defended by the bishop. Juicy Delicious, hello, welcome. Thanks for being here. I'm trying to not lose on time today. I've got a great position. I'm up on material, way down on time, but I still feel really good. So depending on what he does with his queen, okay, he does trade. That's really good for me, honestly. It's going to make it a lot easier to secure the win here. And he does take back, which is fine. If you're watching this and you're wondering, should white really be trading down? The answer is absolutely not. What do we do here? So they're attacking my Dark Shore Bishop. Where can I put it that it's going to be the most effective? Yeah, probably here, I think. Bishop c7. Yeah, and I just don't think that's really a worry. I just don't think it's a worry at all. I'm thinking something like knight e4. Just attacking the light square bishop. Is there anything to be worried about there? 5 minutes left on the clock. It is protected. I wonder if I play just something like rook c6 or rook d6, try and get him to trade, because my knight is defended, and if he trades down, then I just don't think there's any way. But maybe first I should play something like this, just to see what he's going to do, honestly. But I don't think that's working. Because if I play rook c6, he has to trade with me, and I still have my 2 pieces. Is that correct? I believe that is. Yeah. So rook c6, and I'll take back with the bishop so that I don't lose it. He can't take my bishop first, otherwise I'm winning the exchange. And this feels very much like a cleanup job at this point. Quite happy about that. It's kind of nerve-wracking playing on stream. Hey, thank you, Juicy Delicious. That's the goal here. Bring some nice, calming, relaxing chess. But yeah, this is for sure just a cleanup job at this point. Just going to move my knight away from that attack and go after the B pawn. And we'll just continue trading. They will, I'm sure, take back. Certainly. And how do we start to make progress here? Oh, I think I can just take that. I will. So I win a pawn. I've got connected passers on the A and B file. And again, we're just really looking at securing this win. And I think, what are we going to do here? I think I'm going to start getting my king involved in the game. So sliding over, get it more centralized. I know I've got a couple loose pieces on white side of the board, but not so concerned about that. Yeah, we're just going to keep working our way over here. Yeah, and I mean, he's stepping towards my knight, but it is defended. So maybe I just go after his G-pawn with a move like this, and I can get my knight somewhere that's more safe. Yeah, we'll just defend the knight. And I imagine a move like G4 next, probably. Here, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep marching these pawns up the board. Really, I should just be marching my A and B pawns. I think this is a fine move. Yeah, his king and... oh, no, they're not. I was about to say his... thought his king and his bishop were on forkable squares, but they are not. I think I'm just going to start marching. Feels the most principled thing. He doesn't really have a way to stop these protected passers. It's going to be quite a nightmare. They take back, and which pawn do I take back with? I'm not sure it really matters. But I think it makes sense to take back with this pawn. The reason I say that is so that I can keep my G pawn there to blockade White's G pawn, and I think I'm going to play a move that feels forcing. I don't know if it actually is. I think I've got to play one move before I do that. Yeah, I'm moving my king over. My idea here is I'm going to play... interesting. So I don't think that's a worry. I mean, I think I'm just slowly going to start moving up. And he locks up, which is totally fine. I think I may actually just walk my king up as well. Just get as much protection for these two passed pawns as possible. I'm going to watch out for him putting his king on a forkable square with the dark square bishop. And I think my idea here actually is try and get rid of this dark square bishop. It's the only thing between me and a queen, so I'd imagine, yeah, I was about to say I'd imagine White will resign here, and they do. So yeah, awesome win, great game. Feel really good about it. And let's go ahead and analyze it. So I'm not quite so sophisticated yet that I have all my scenes set up in OBS to where I can just click a button and go straight into an analysis. I wish I was, but not there yet. So give me just a second and we will get set up here. Juicy Delicious, thanks again. W indeed. Coming off of 2 losses on time the last time I played Rapid was a little bit frustrating, but it feels good to come back with a win. A little bit clunky here, but we're going to get this set up. We'll take a look at this game. So we can bring up, where's Chrome? Juicy Delicious, do you watch any pro chess? I was watching some of Tata Steel this morning in Eik van Zee in the Netherlands, watching some of the games that started there this morning. Let me just find my Chrome board. Is it this? No. Chrome board. Where is my Chrome board? What is going on here? I don't know where my analysis board is. I may have to just pull a new one up. Google Chrome here. There we go. There's my Tata Steel, watching it on. No, cancel. Let's go into my archive and check out that game. It felt really good. Yeah, sometimes it is pretty difficult to, it's pretty difficult to follow sometimes, indeed. Rotate this just a hair. Get me in this camera. Board's in the right place. Gonna slide the chat box over. I swear next time I will have this all sorted out in scenes. But okay, let's take a look. Got the analysis board up, and you can't see it. It pulled the review up, but this went sideways for White right away. So I don't know if there will be a ton of value in this analysis, but I still think it's really important for my game to do it. So let's take a look. They opened D4. And again, I went into an Indian game, Nimzo, Queen's Indian, depending on how White plays it. I did mention when I played that I'm looking to get away from this defensive D4, actually. I'm going to start looking into the Slav, maybe. I think it'll play a little more like the Carol, which is what I play for D4. Sorry, E4. Here, A3, and I I'm just taking a look at the opening explorer just to see. So A3 is like the fourth most common move from the white side after this response from black. So it's not inherently bad. It's 663 grandmasters have played this, but for me, I'm just continuing to develop. And then they do play their knight, starting to control some of the center. Not that square. This square and this square here. Starting to challenge for e4, which is one of the reasons why black plays bishop b6 in this opening. Again, trying to control this e4 square, get some control in the center. And the opening went pretty quick in this game. I was trying to play faster, and I think it was important for me to do so. Just develop naturally and leave myself plenty of time to calculate in the middle game. So I just developed here. I did consider a move like bishop d6, but I didn't think that made a lot of sense because then I block in my d pawn, and I didn't want to do that. They develop. I castle. They develop. And right here, I think the evaluation is still pretty even. I think both sides have done a good job of developing. Did I read any of a Nimzovich? Yes. So I do have Nimzovich's My System book. It is a difficult read, in my opinion. I think I was trying to bite off too much of it at a time. So I found some value in it, but his writing style is kind of difficult to it's difficult for me to internalize at the strength that I am as a high 1400s player. But a lot of people recommend it as kind of a historical chess text. Though I think some would argue maybe it's a little bit dated now compared to some of the theory that's out there since that book came out. Again, here my candidate moves were c5 or d6, and I played d6 because I wanted to get my knight here. I think there's better coordination between the knights if I play knight bd6 instead of something like c5 then knight b6. But look at the engine. The engine recommends d5 and c5 as equal, d6 being slightly worse. So it was a slightly worse move on my part to play d6. It gives white about a half pawn advantage. And yeah, probably more principally is playing c5 or d5. Again, contesting white's pretty strong control of the center here. They've got the space. They've got two pawns here. And even though I am contesting these squares with my knight and my bishop, probably would have been, I guess the engine is saying it's better to play c5 or d5 there. I didn't do that. I just played d6. And here they're starting to try and take up more space in the center, but I think this is where white started going wrong. Here in the next couple of moves, that didn't really affect the way I wanted to play because I knew that even if he pushed, I could escape and not have a big worry. And also during the game, I saw the tactic that occurred, which, so here I played c5. I think c5 or rook c8 were my candidate moves here. Rook e8 is the top move, then c5, then h6. So I'm okay with c5. I liked that. Again, contesting here, not wanting to play something like c6. Obviously, my light square bishop wants to stay active on this diagonal. And white responds with e5. And I think this is where they went wrong because of the sequence that occurred in the game. Yeah, so right away, the evaluation switches to an advantage for black because of exactly what happened, right? I was able to take this pawn and then remove a defender of it with tempo on the queen. And there is no way for white to get out of this situation. Like I said, during the game, they can't take because I'm winning the queen. And it was just unfortunate for white. Just a slight calculation tactics issue there. They took back, and then I did win this knight. And this is when it really started going downhill for white. So I'm just going to kind of analyze it in the sense of like, what could white have done better here? Because I think their next several moves really put them in a hole that they couldn't dig out of. What did they play next? Yeah, they took, and I think that's just a blunder. I honestly think that the computer would call that a blunder. So the evaluation right now is minus 1.6, and on taking, it goes to minus 3. So I think white lashed out a little bit after going down a pawn. If we were to say, what could they do better here? I'm not looking at the lines. I saw it, but my first instinct was sliding this queen over and then looking at a move like bishop h6, like I was talking in the game, going after g7, maybe winning an exchange on my rook. So that's probably a better move. What else could white do here? This is undefended, so maybe something even as simple as, well, he's got to move. His queen is attacked, so he has to do something to rectify that. And yeah, so he's got to move his queen. In that case, then yeah, queen g3 is probably the only good move. But I took back, and I think taking back with the king would have been a very bad move, because had I done that, there probably would be some sort of tactic involved. Maybe not, but just didn't want to expose my king knowing that I have an undefended knight up there. Just took back with the knight, and from here, like I mentioned, I think the evaluation is minus 3 for black. And we'll just go through it, see if there's anything else that catches my eye. Yep, he's attacking my undefended knight, but he has an undefended pawn, so I took it. He attacks it, and just get my knight to safety. I think that is the most principled place to put it. I don't think it makes sense to put it on the side of the board. It's defended here twice. I did mention during the game, I was worried about something like this, sliding over, maybe going for, an attack on my knight, but after, say, rook d1, get my queen out of the way, he adds an attacker, and I can just add another defender. So I don't think that was a big worry. This move from white, I don't think is inherently bad. I think he's got the right idea, is probably just start swinging his pieces over to where his queen is, where he's most active. Let's see. White's recommended move is rook d1. So going forward, again, trying to create some complications. If you go down material in a game, the first thing you should look to do is create as many complications as you can. And like I mentioned during the game, not trading down. So instead, they start bringing their knight over, and I get my knight to a better square while attacking the queen. They move the queen out of the way, and he's attacking this rook, but it's defended twice. Not a big worry, but I did slide it over. I just felt like the c-file may be a good place for it. I bet rook e8 would have been an equally good move in that position. I told you in the beginning, my focus was not wasting too much time deliberating between probably what are equal moves. I did that a lot in the previous couple of games I played, where I deliberated for such a long time. And when I looked at the evaluation of the resulting positions I was deliberating between, they were largely even. So my goal in this game was to not do that. He attacks the knight, but it is defended 3 times, actually, so I wasn't so concerned. I just attacked the knight, seeing where he wanted to go, because I saw this would have been a pretty nasty move if he decided, to take. Then I'm going knight d2 and forking the queen and the rook, but they kind of decided they actually didn't want that. I think they played bishop e3, and they did. And here, again, just trying to make way for the rook, start creating maybe some attacks at h2, get my queen more active, get it off the back rank. He does challenge for the file. Here I was again trying to decide, like, should I play knight d5, attacking this dark square bishop, trying to again trade down, or do I just contest for the file? which I did end up doing, and I think is the right thing to do. If this dark square bishop wasn't here, though, that would be, it could be a bad move a little bit further along here. So I traded, and I wonder if taking back with the queen would have been no, because that would have forced another trade. So probably not. But what I was talking about here, if my dark square bishop wasn't here, this queen move would have been a blunder. Let's say this dark square bishop was I don't know, not here, but also not on f8. There's a tactic where he takes with check. I've got to take back with my rook, otherwise I'm just straight up losing a rook. And then I have a hanging queen. So I did know that in the game that I had this defended by the bishop and I wouldn't lose my protection of the queen. He traded, which I was so happy about. Again, I'm up 4 points in material. Continuing to trade down is in my best interest. And from here, it's just about not making any significant blunders. I don't think there's a whole lot of value in... I think this move was actually pretty good. I'm pretty proud of this move, forcing even more consolidation because he can't take, otherwise he loses the exchange. So I was actually pretty pumped about that move. And I wonder if the engine would agree with me. Yes, rook d6 is the best move. And yeah, I just don't think there's a lot of value beyond here. Again, it was just trying to play principally, white continued on, which is completely fine. I think it gives me practice in the endgame. I've blown winning endgames online and over the board, so I'm happy to continue playing it out. But yeah, I don't think anything here was a major mistake on my end, and I don't think white had a lot to do here to salvage this game. So all in all, a pretty good game. I'm super happy with the way that I played. I think I'm just going to leave it at one game this Saturday morning, get to the rest of my day. Appreciate it if you stuck around. Juicy Delicious, appreciate you being here on stream. If you're viewing this on YouTube later, welcome. I mentioned it at the beginning of my video. I'll mention it again. I have some really exciting things coming to announce related to my stream, related to my YouTube channel. Nothing to announce yet, just a little bit of a teaser for you. And if you want to continue supporting me, you can follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. All of those things really help me out and are the #1 way that you can continue supporting my content. So thanks for being here, whether you're live or online, and I hope everyone has a great Saturday.